Well, as we sit here today and reflect back over 50 years, I think about all of the people who have been involved in building the success of this company. It's really a people-based business, and there's been just scores of people that have contributed to this and the character of the company and its history. From my father-in-law and his childhood friend Jack Tranum in the early years in 1968. Here we are going to the moon as a country, and we're launching this little real estate company that has become quite a presence in the marketplace today. I'm hoping that you'll get to know our company a bit better through this production, and you'll understand more about who we are and why we serve.
Before I got in the real estate business, I was working for Canada Dry Corporation. I was supposed to be getting a promotion to go to Los Angeles, which I considered to be a demotion. And all of a sudden, I get a call from Jerry Bratton that says, "Hey, let's go duck hunting in Eastern Washington." I just quit working for the brewery, and I went into the real estate business. And so I said, "Okay, I'll go duck hunting with you for the weekend." And so we went duck hunting, and he convinced me that, hey, the real estate business was a great thing. My promotion's going through. I said, "No, I'm not going to Los Angeles. I'm going to Olympia, back in the real estate business." We moved into the Capitol Center building, and we were managing the building, and it was the absolute incubator place for new businesses in town.
When they got started, it was a small little office with this stupid striped carpet, and Becky was the secretary, and Jack and Jerry, and that was it. I don't think I ever I know I never foresaw them turning into the giant, what I consider now, a huge success with lots of people.
As a kid, some of my first memories were the old office down there, right on 5th, and thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. I'm 6 at the time, and looking up at this huge building, and I remember going up and getting to go all the way up to the roof, and standing on the roof and looking out and thinking, man, this is the biggest thing I have ever seen. Olympia in those days, it was huge.
Jack and my dad were good friends, and our families became friends. We spent every Thanksgiving together going hunting in the potholes over in Moses Lake.
There's lots of stories about the hunting trips, let's just say that.
We chopped wood out there.
Mm-hmm. Baled hay.
Baled hay.
Oh,
Easter egg hunts.
hate baled hay.
Yeah. That was the worst.
That
Building
was the
fences.
Played tennis.
Yeah.
Taught Nancy to drive.
Yes, Kelly taught me how to drive. He
Not
also
exactly-
snuck me into my very first R-rated movie.
Oh, yeah.
Those times were unbelievable. Getting everybody together, having fun as a company, but as friends. They were friends. They worked together, but they all got along, and they were friends.
Probably the scariest thing about starting our own company was that, the real estate market wasn't really red hot at the time. The average sale price, was probably in the neighborhood of $24,000. When we first started, and if you go back, if you went back and looked at some 1960s Olympia newspapers and looked at the real estate ads in the paper, you'd think, where are they? We were the first to use photographs of pictures in the paper, and then we started putting colored pictures in the paper, and then we started. We had our spring open house every year, and we'd put a full-page ad with pictures and whatnot, which we couldn't afford it, but we were trying to make a splash, and we did.
Jim McNamara came on early in the 70s and brought a great salesman professionalism to the company, and a competitive spirit as well, to become the best real estate agent in Thurston County.
When we put one of these in your front yard, you're getting a lot more than just a for sale sign. This sign is the symbol of Olympia's leading realtor. It means we'll give your home total exposure until it's sold. The Evergreen Olympic sign. Order yours today.
The 70s and 80s weren't easy times to do real estate with the economy, the high interest rates, unemployment, some of the economic and social uncertainty that was going on. And it took a team that had a lot of different talents to keep going through those years. It would have been awfully easy to fold and go away, but they stuck to their mission of serving people well.
We just kept plugging along, and we just had the feeling that things were going to get better as long as we kept our nose to the grindstone. And we eventually hired a pretty doggone good crew of people.
In 1982, I think it was time for a change. It was a time of a little bit of economic turmoil. Interest rates were real high, a lot of inbound migration, and so I think they were looking for something that would take them to the next level.
All of a sudden one day, a couple guys from Coldwell Banker came in and started talking to us, and we said, hey, we're going with Coldwell Banker because they're the only one of these franchise companies that's actually in the real estate business.
I think one of the best things that we've done since we've been in business in the 19 years was our decision to join Coldwell Banker in 1982.
I still have people ask me, what does it mean? Did you sell out to Coldwell Banker? Well, no, we're still Evergreen Olympic, but we're just affiliated with Coldwell Banker, which gives our sellers more exposure on their property.
Evergreen Olympic Realty, our professionals are here to serve you.
I think they chose Coldwell Banker for good reasons, and it showed how smart they were. We've really been proud to be affiliated with them every day since.
I think probably the first word that would come to my mind about Evergreen over the years is integrity. My first house I ever bought, Jerry insisted that I buy this house from Holly Homes, Dave Kelly, $21,000 including the lot, and I thought, God, I'll never be able to pay $300 a month. But I did. But Jerry said you can do it, and it's a good builder. It's a good neighborhood. But they've been, and every house I've bought and sold since then has been through Evergreen.
So over the 50 years, integrity has always been one of the big things about Coldwell Banker. And I can remember my dad talking about it.
I think that from the very beginning, this company believed you take care of the customer first and you do what's right. And that's definitely something that continues today.
I think it really the integrity made a big difference to business too. My dad got a lot of referrals because he had a reputation for doing the right thing all the time.
Living in Seattle and working in the legislature, Ken and I decided that it was time to start our family. And there was the calling to come back to Olympia and work in the family business.
Nancy's dad was always good towards me, but he liked to tease me a lot. We'd sit and talk in his living room in the latter years of his life, and I never forget when he said, you really should come down and get involved in the business. I thought he was teasing me, and he wasn't. He was quite serious, and I sort of dismissed that, but he kept coming back to that, and I think it was about a year later, his partner Kathy Hartman called and said, no, we really want you to buy this business. We started really in earnest in 1998 when we were talking to the partners, at the time. They were great mentors to me. I knew a lot, but I had a lot to learn, and in some ways didn't know how much I had to learn, but they shared their collective wisdom with me, and I appreciate that to this day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't use a bit of wisdom that Kathy has shared about finances, or Jack has shared about the brokerage side of the house, and Jim in terms of the viewpoint of the salespeople. And I feel like we've really tried to carry on the legacy that they created. Not only did I learn from the partners, but I also learned from the agents, and continue to this day. And I marvel at them every day. We have a very collaborative office, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of. Of course, we're continuing to innovate and continue to push the envelope in terms of how we give great service, but really the legacy of community and of giving the best service available is what this is about, and continuing that.
When I think of Coldwell Banker, I think about the leading real estate company in all of the region. It's for what they do, what they represent, the quality of the people and the service that they provide.
When we first began to partner with Coldwell Banker a little over 10 years ago,
Yeah, I think exactly 10 years ago.
it was by far the best decision we ever made for our business. We just couldn't be happier with our relationship with Coldwell Banker.
It's easy for anyone to come into this market and just make a few bucks and leave. But if you want to be here for 10, 15, 20, 50 years, you have to do it right.
When you do it for long enough, you make sense. It can't be about, if it's about money, you're gonna make the wrong decisions. I always say money is a byproduct of doing good work. You have to have a passion for what you do. The second thing I would say is that it's about treating people the right way. Any company that you see that's been around that long, they've got to be doing those two things right. For me, Coldwell Banker is the only broker, honestly, I've dealt with. I've never ever wanted to look anywhere else.
I think my dad always felt that real estate and the connection with the community is together. It's a very strong connection. And to make this a better place to call home, it's important to give back.
I moved to Olympia in March of 1988. I accepted the position with Providence St. Peter Foundation to be their executive director. So I came to Olympia not knowing a soul, and it wasn't too long after arriving that I was in the offices of Coldwell Banker talking to the CEO, Mr. Bratton at the time, and I was new to the community, and just learning about it through his eyes. Amazingly, Coldwell Banker hasn't broken a single year without giving to Providence St. Peter in some capacity. And so they've been a sponsor of the Christmas Forest for 30 years. They've had volunteers involved for more than 30 years and have just been really engaged in the community beyond the hospital campus as well. You know, similar missions, taking care of people, sometimes at their greatest time of need.
The Hands-On Children's Museum simply wouldn't be the organization it is today without the support of Coldwell Banker as an organization. When we were just really an idea years ago in our teeny little space, Coldwell believed in our mission to inspire hands-on learning and creativity. And in fact, they were involved in the very beginnings of the new museum finding a home. They have helped us grow from a tiny organization to an organization with 75 employees serving over 300,000 visitors a year. And they were with us the entire time. They led the leadership team for a couple of our different spaces, and their agents, in fact, the whole office, put together a sand sculpting team for our Sand in the City event, which was the largest community event for years in the South Sound. What's really remarkable about Coldwell Banker is they not only invest their time and their treasure, and they do it as an entire organization. They really get on board to support the causes that they believe in.
Several years ago, when we were kind of growing our company and getting started, we probably weren't involved in as many organizations and weren't investing as many dollars back into the community as what we could have or should have, until we started to get invited to more events by Ken and Nancy. And that encourages us to do more. Seeing Coldwell Banker's commitment to the community, seeing Ken and Nancy at every event we go to, made us kind of take a step back and look at things and think, yeah, we need to do more too.
When a business or family relocates to our area, quality of life is a huge consideration, and we are proud that Coldwell Banker believes that we contribute to the quality of life in our region, and Coldwell Banker puts their time and resources towards investing in those assets that make this a wonderful place to live. Ken Anderson joined our board, and we have had a lot of involvement from Coldwell Banker as a sponsor and as a ticket buyer and hosting meetings and receptions. Oftentimes, if we're not picking up the phone giving Ken a call, we'll think, well, what would Ken do? And we'll try to encompass the quality that he expects of his agents and his agency, and we want to replicate that as well.
Several years ago, many of the leaders in the nonprofit community got together and decided that we really wanted to create an organization to honor the outstanding businesses in the community that were supporting philanthropy. And we created the South Sound Partners for Philanthropy, and they are the only real estate company that was honored over the years. They really do far more than sell houses. They're really all about improving the quality of life in the community.
You know, when we first started out, we went into the real estate business with the idea that this was going to be a long-term project. And, you know, we had some bumps in the beginning, but those bumps kind of ironed out over the years. And I am just really pleased as punch that the company is still going at this time.
As the company celebrates 50 years, I look back and can't imagine that I'd still be sitting with Greg and Kelly here today. We shared a lot of fun times as kids in the office and outside the office doing fun. Our families were all friends, and not once, I don't think, in those times did I think, I'm going to be sitting next to them celebrating 50 years, you know, with Coldwell Banker. But I can't imagine better people to be with, and I think the legacy of Coldwell Banker is that are the people. What the people give to the community is kind of the legacy our dad started, and I feel kind of honored and privileged that we're all still a part of it.
Well, I say congratulations to Coldwell Banker. For 50 plus years, they've been making a difference and giving back in so many ways. I think they have a bright future ahead of them. The place would not be the same if they weren't here engaged in our lives and engaged in our relationships and our organizations, and I send them my best wishes.
I'd really like to take this opportunity to say happy birthday, Coldwell Banker. I want to thank you so much for all you've done for the Hands-On Children's Museum and for all of the organizations in our community that make this such a special place to live.
I know how hard it is to be generational because we're a generational family, and you know, we've had our rough spots. But I would, you know, just like to congratulate and appreciate the fact that you are here in the community and everything that you've chosen to do for Olympia. I just think it should be 5,000 balloons in the air for the 50 years, not just 50. No, it's just a really great thing.
Coldwell Banker has had their hand involved in so many projects that have helped our community develop the identity that it has. So I want to say happy anniversary to Coldwell Banker.
When you look at the lifespan of most businesses, if you can get 5 or 10 years, you're doing really good. So for 50 years in a service industry is a huge milestone. I know that their success is part of our success, and you know, if we wish them another 50 years, maybe we can hang on for another 10 or 15 with you.
In thinking back over 50 years, you know, a lot has changed, but the one thing that stayed the same is our commitment to service, and we're really looking forward to the next 50 years.
Happy anniversary. Let's do 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Happy anniversary.